So yeah, he didn't even ask. But I eat pork from the rooter to the tutor.
I'm so curious. I'm assuming maybe something sausage-based.
It's got to be a sausage.
Pork sausage.
It's got to be a sausage or a hot dog.
Ooh, or a hot dog.
Or a hot dog. Something crazy like a hot dog.
Not a morning glizzy. I don't think I can eat a glizzy before 10 a.m.
Shit,
A pre-10 a.m. glizzy sounds.
I used to eat glizzies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's probably what's wrong with me now. We used to get packs of hot dogs and packs of cheese and be like, all right, this is what you guys got to eat for the week. Don't eat it all at once. Absolutely eat all of them at once. And I was a grown-up. Before I realized that you should eat hot dogs off a hot dog bun. We would just eat it off the sliced bread. Because we had bread in the house for sandwiches. Oh, you just raw dog in the dog?
We cut them up, though.
So
like
just popping them?
Pieces,
You're not cooking them, right? Just eating them raw?
I think we just put them in the microwave for like 30 seconds,
Gotcha.
a little nuke.
Gotcha. When I was toddler age, 3, 4, 5, I was eating raw hot dogs just straight out the pack. Just give them to me. Let's get it going.
Pack.
That might also be what's wrong with me.
There's a lot of things.
What's the song today?
Bubbly by Colby Calais.
Oh, you gotta keep that one.
No. I've been awake for a while now.
You know what that song is about?
Yes, you got me feeling like a
Turn
child.
up.
Now that part's a little gross. Cause every time I see your bubbly face, I get the tingles in a silly place. It starts in my toes.
Okay,
and I
work it on
crinkle my
up.
nose.
Gotta make that face.
Wherever it goes.
We know where it's
I
going.
always know. I used to sometimes randomly bust this out as a karaoke song. It doesn't have enough juice, but I like where it sits in my voice.
Have you seen the karaoke episode of Abbott? Have you watched any Abbott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
We are
the karaoke episode
we're
is
on
pretty good.
we're on the last episode of the last season, so we're about to start the newest season.
Okay. All right, yeah.
We've made up a lot of ground.
Okay, good stuff.
Yes.
It's tell me where Gregory and Janine are. Are they? Will they? Won't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Still.
All right.
And I think if I know correctly, that's how the season ends too. I think it's still will they, won't they status. Yeah.
Something like that.
It's all right. All right, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 1st. It is going to be a good day. That is not an April Fool's joke. Don't get got today. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. A third straight loss for the Memphis Grizzlies. Another game tonight. Warriors in town. Seeding has reached critical levels. Mike Wallace will join us in the second segment to continue the talk about the Grizzlies, to go around to the NBA. Then former Memphis Tiger Will Coleman will join us, as he does on most Tuesdays. We'll get his thoughts on the Tigers season as a whole, where they go from here in the transfer portal, plus his thoughts on the men's Final Four. We also got the women's Final Four all set up and situated last night. 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed advance to Tampa. And we'll end with a little TV Tuesday. I'm behind on everything. Don't yell at me, but I did start a new show. We have some shows to talk about from the week. It'll be a good one. It's Tuesday, you know what we say. Just again, like, don't get got on April Fool's Day.
Your shoes untied.
No, it's not.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Grammy, Academy, and Golden Globe Award-winning superstar Mary J. Blige, live in Memphis. The For My Fans Tour, live at FedEx Forum Saturday, April 19th, with special guests Neo and Mario. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The iconic Mary J. Blige, for one night only.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. On the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time.
Yeah.
So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this
this
story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage, total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own a day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. We are here following another Grizzlies loss. Tough night for me. Tough night, despite the fact that the game did end early, which was a win. But then I was excited because the game ended early and I was able to get home to watch the USC-UConn game in the Women's Elite Eight, only to watch USC suffer the inevitable and fall to UConn, and their season comes to a close. So I had a rough night of basketball, but the first case of that was watching the Grizzlies fall to the Celtics 117-103. Ninth straight win for the Celtics, third straight loss for the Grizzlies. Grizzlies scored 103 points, which is the second lowest point total for them this season. No Jaylen Brown, no Luke Cornett for Boston. And as we go through last night's loss, CJ, I'm not sure what was the most frustrating part, but one of the options would certainly be the "Let's go Celtics" chants that rang pretty heartily throughout FedEx Forum. Can you remind me, where's FedEx Forum located?
191 Bill Street, Memphis, Tennessee, 38103, I do believe.
Yeah, that's the zip.
Yeah.
That's the zip.
That's where it is.
Do you know how many miles away that is?
From
Boston, Massachusetts?
From the Garden?
Yeah.
From is it still the Boston Garden?
It's TD Garden.
TD Garden, that's the Garden.
To
that it is.
FedEx Forum
I'm
distance. I should have had this prepared and ready to go.
735 miles away.
That's low.
Really?
That's low.
How far?
1,317 miles, a casual 19-hour and 45-minute drive. But what's crazy is how many people in green seem to have traveled the 1,300 miles to come scream, "Let's go Celtics" in Federal Express Forum, which, as you so illustriously mentioned, is located in Memphis, Tennessee, zip code 38103. I know this happens. There was a lot of green last night. Coming off of a weekend where I was told I was not at the Lakers game, there was a lot of purple and gold, which there always is. And tonight the Warriors are in town, and I would assume there will be a lot of Steph Curry jerseys. But last night felt egregious. And maybe it's because it's the defending champions, and maybe some more of those fans crawled their way out. Maybe it's because it was a Monday night. I don't know what the excuses are, anything in between. But it did make last night's loss to the Celtics all the more frustrating.
I know what the issue is. Grizzlies haven't given people something to cheer about in quite some time. Like, that's what it is. I wish it wasn't the case. Wish for Grizz fans that it wasn't the case. But, like, when your team is performing the way that the Grizzlies are performing, and you documented their woes beating good teams and what their record was against or what their record is post All-Star break, you know, the fans kind of get to the point where there's a bit of apathy there. There's a bit of acceptance there. There's not a whole lot of hope there. And until things change out there on the court from a player standpoint, player performance standpoint, I get it, you're going to get these types of things. Can you imagine what it's going to be like? Game 4, FedEx Forum
Don't say it.
against the Lakers.
Don't
Lakers
say
up
it.
3-0.
Don't say it.
Right.
No, stop. Don't
right, like
breathe that into the universe.
But that's what we could be looking at here. So until the players decide to
it started well
do
last
something
night.
different.
The first quarter was good. First
Okay.
quarter was good. Then they gave up 41 in the second quarter. And listen, like, even though the first quarter was better, and there were spurts of better defensive activity, but as a whole, if I have to watch one more booty butt naked open three taken by an opposing player at FedEx Forum,
Choose your words carefully.
I
Choose
cut
them
myself
carefully,
off
because it's going to happen a whole bunch in this next game.
Because it happens every single
It's
time.
going to happen tonight.
When you look at the two leading scorers from last night, it is Ja Morant, who was phenomenal in the first half, had 19 of his 26 in the first half, and Al Horford, who had 26 points. And why you are leaving Al Horford, is his real name Alfred? I don't know, but I'm going to call him Alfred for the moment because he's 87 years old. I was telling my mom last night. She's like, who's that guy who just keeps making all those threes off the bench? Alfred Horford, who has been playing in the league since 1907, and you are leaving him open time and time and time again. Corner open three. KYP, know your personnel. But for the Grizzlies last night, I think it was another testament of TYT, trust your teammates. And this team so clearly does not trust its teammates and those around them when it comes to defense, and they are over-helping. You know how in natural disasters, we're always like, find the helpers. You always got to look for the helpers. I don't want any more helpers on this Memphis Grizzlies team because it is destroying or has destroyed any semblance of a defensive identity. And if there's one team that you don't want to sag off and leave open shooters for, it is the Boston Celtics, who take more threes than anybody else in the league. They take 62 of them last night. And when you take 62 threes, you're going to make a good chunk. It's 21. It's not a great shooting percentage, 21 of 62. But at the end of the day, 21 threes is hard to overcome, especially if for the Grizzlies you look and your two best or at least most accurate, most consistent three-point shooters combined to take 5 threes. And Desmond Bane took all of them. Luke Kennard took none of them. I am looping him in as the number 2 most accurate three-point shooter on this team. And Des and Luke combined to take 5 threes against a Celtics team that takes 62 in a game. And for Luke Kennard, I mean, this is the second game in a row. He took 0 shots against the Lakers in 21 minutes? He took 1 shot. It was a missed layup last night in 19 minutes. He got to the free throw line. He made 1 free throw. But, you can't have Luke Kennard playing close to 40 minutes in 2 games and having 1 point and one shot attempt. 1 single shot attempt.
And that's all on him. That's on nobody else. Too often, Luke Kennard catches the ball and is not ready to shoot. Right? Like, he's catching the ball, and instead of catching it squaring up, immediately ready to fire, he's catching it looking around. It's like, no, Luke. No, sir. You need to shoot the ball. And I have to imagine, I have to believe that people on the coaching staff have told him, shoot the damn ball. I have to believe that. Because if they're not, then some recent decisions are beginning to make sense from a head coaching standpoint. Doesn't make sense for him to have that 3-point percentage and for him to not shoot the ball. And it's been an issue all year. It's egregious right now. Right. Absolutely. But it's been a problem all season long, where it is, all right, Luke Kennard is going to be the floor spacer. Well, if he's not catching the ball and shooting, how much of a spacer is he going to be? Sometimes the best shot in a possession for this Grizzlies team is Luke Kennard to take the first semi-open look from 3 that he gets. Otherwise, you end up with Vince Williams Jr. taking a shot, or somebody else, taking a shot And it is, all right, Luke, like you could have took that same shot and we would have been better off for it had you taken that shot. He's got to do a better job shooting the ball. Tennessee, remember Barnes sat down Chaz Lanier at one point in the season and he joked around in the media and there was truth behind it, but he was joking in the media when he said, yeah, I told him if you're not going to shoot the ball, what the hell are you here for? What are you good for? It's the same thing with Luke Kennard. Where if you're not going to shoot the ball, I'm not sure what value you have on the court right now, Luke Kennard. He's got to do a better job catching the ball, ready to go, ready to fire, and he's got to force some threes. I don't care. He's got to shoot it.
Well, and the thing is you look at who took. Would you like to guess? I don't know if you've box score scouted last night's game, but who took the most threes on the team last night?
I went straight to sleep. Who took the most threes on the team? Ja?
No.
Jaren?
He did take 7. No, he did take 6.
All right, who?
Santi Aldama.
How many Santi
12
take?
threes.
Turn up, Santi.
12.
Santi's not going to let it look past.
12.
Santi's going to shoot it.
He had 21 points off the bench, but that is a false flag 21 off the bench because he was 8 of 18 overall from the field, 3 of 12 from 3. And if you look at the differential of bench performances, efficient Horford is over here going 6 of 13 from 3 with 26 off the bench. But then outside of Santi, there's nothing from anybody. Just like outside of Scottie Pippen Jr. in the Lakers game, the role players, there was nothing from anybody else. And there has to be something more. And again, I remind you, the Celtics were without Jaylen Brown. The Celtics were without Luke Cornett. They started Xavier Tillman Sr., which was a lovely moment to see.
They just started him because he was here.
Yeah, it was a sweet moment.
Yeah, they were just like, all right, X, you can start here.
I love it for
you
X.
You hadn't played all season, but you can start this game. We're gonna give you some run.
And how sad is that?
And
like the Grizzlies are in again as seeding has reached critical level. Do you remember that song? Who was it? Who did Bounce? Come here, girl. Come here. Yeah.
That's Timbaland, Magoo.
Tempo has reached critical level.
Hold up, hell no. Britney Spears out wearing no draws. Like, come on, that's just I hope she does that song at River Beat.
That'd be great.
Missy's last verse. It's Sebastian. I think it's Timbaland, Sebastian, and Missy.
And Missy, yeah.
Yeah.
Tempo has reached seeding has reached critical level. And you have Xavier Tillman Sr. starting in a game against the Celtics. No disrespect to X. Again, the crowd went crazy for X because, 1, there were 8,000 Celtics fans there last night, but 2, because he meant so much to this group and seeing him interact, yada, yada, yada. It was lovely. It would have been more lovely if the Grizzlies had been able to get a very important win over the Celtics. And it's not like the Celtics played awesome. They scored 117 points. They shot 33% from 3. And when you look at the Grizzlies started, I think, first quarter, they were, 5 of 7 from 3 for the Grizzlies? And they were 5 of 11 from 3 in the first quarter. They go 6 of 33 the rest of the way. And the end of the first half, when they went 5 minutes without taking a 2, 5 minutes without taking a shot inside the arc, they missed 7 straight threes. That the streak finally ended.
Also. Quick.
And bad threes. And the streak finally ends on a jaw putback dunk off of a Scottie miss. But the game flips. And we've seen this is a script that's familiar. 1, the open threes, 2, the giving up a huge number in one quarter, and then having, the Grizzlies went up 11 in the first half. The energy was there, the pride felt there. Ja was getting downhill. Ja had the 2 threes where he took the one super deep and then the one that went off the backboard, and he's smiling, and I'm like, oh yes, this is what things are gonna turn. And then they just turned back again, and it was so infuriating to watch last night.
Put a little respect on Xavier Tillman's name, by the way.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
He's 100% from the free throw line his last 10 games.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he was 0 of 5 from 3 last night.
Yeah.
So I guess when I say KYP, know your personnel, at least they knew Xavier Tillman was the one to keep open, and that's why Al Horford comes off the bench and plays 37 minutes.
He's also only played.
Al Horford played more minutes last night than Ja Morant. Not to belabor something that has been a consistent frustration, but Al Horford played more minutes than Ja. He played more minutes than Jaren. He played more minutes than Dez, and I get it. First night of a back-to-back. Very, 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 very seeding has reached critical level game tonight against the Golden State Warriors, who are now a half game behind you in the standings. And a loss tonight against the Warriors would designate the Grizzlies being pushed into the 6th seed for the moment. So this one's important, but Santi led the team in minutes. Santi and Ja both played 35 last night. And I get that Santi had extended run because the front court was a mess. And the front court continues to be a consistency mess. Edie gets in foul trouble early. We see Marvin Bagley. We saw spurts of Jay Huff. Santi played a lot more minutes probably than expected. But man, it's April 1st, and it feels tough at the moment. I'm trying to, you know what? I almost forgot. You got to keep things in perspective. At least I can't say it. I'm going to let Jaren say it. This was Jaren Jackson Jr. when asked last night in the locker room about the team's recent struggles. And here it is.
I mean, we've had wins, we've had losses. Ain't no reason to feel like crazy. Like it always could be worse. You could be homeless. So.
I didn't mean to take a sip of water as that was going, but I struggled to get it down. He is technically right. You could be homeless. There's always somebody who has it worse than you. You know, it's interesting when I saw this. It has done numbers in the Grizzly space. This is something I actually work on like regularly with my therapist. Here's a reminder to everyone: therapy's great. Therapy's awesome. Not resorting to that thinking. Like, yes, there is always somebody out there who has it far worse than you, but you have to face your problems, your frustrations, and you can't just default to, you know, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky to be in this situation. It could be worse. I could be homeless. It's not exactly the most encouraging of a response following a third straight loss, following at this exact point in the regular season. And no, that is not an AI-generated soundbite for April Fool's Day. That was real.
Okay.
That hurt my heart.
He did his job.
He did.
He did his job.
He's done his job all season.
Ja did his job last night. The supporting
Jaren
cast,
also, I will say, Jaren had 15 rebounds last night, which one I think is
you can't bank on that, but.
No, and it's a testament to playing against a team like the Celtics that takes a lot of threes and misses a lot of threes, and thus far has a lot of long rebounds. Like, I think all of Jaren's rebounds were on the defensive end, if I'm correct.
I would assume so, yeah.
Let's see here. 15 rebounds, career high, all defensive rebounds.
Yes.
So that's not something you're going to get all the time, but it was encouraging to see 20 and 15 for Jaren. We don't see that stat often, ever.
What is encouraging about that? That's a mirage.
No, but you just said Jaren did his job.
Yeah, Jaren did do his job.
That's my point.
Jaren did his job.
Jaren did enough.
Ja did his
enough.
job. So
Jaren and Ja combined for 46.
What did Dez do? What did the bench do?
Dez
what
was
did
5
Dez
of 11.
do? What did the role players do? Because somebody dropped the ball and it wasn't those two.
Yeah. It's everything else.
So.
All right, we'll get into it with Mike Wallace. He's going to join us. We have not had a chance to talk with Mike Wallace since everything happened on Friday with Taylor Jenkins, these first two games for Tomas Isalo. We'll get into it with Mike when we come back.
Touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Anticipate each challenge, make a quick response, capitalize on every opportunity, and win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
You got triple. I had went through that for it. When I was in Portland, you had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about double. You got to talk about triple.
You got triple team.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Welcome back. We have the first rude sports-related April Fool's joke of the day. Boo, Tiger Woods. He said, I can't believe I'm saying this, but a few weeks after rupturing my left Achilles, the sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, plus the explosive lifts my doctor and trainers have me ready to play the Masters next week. Can't wait. See you all on the course. And some people believed that. They believed it. He tweeted at 7:43 a.m., and then at 7:49, he said, P.S. April Fools, my Achilles is still a mess. We don't joke about Achilles, but we also don't joke about Mike Wallace, who is a very serious guest on the show every Tuesday, senior editor at Grind City Media. Mike, happy April Fool's Day. I wish last night's loss was an April Fool's joke, but unfortunately it was a real result. And we have so much to get to with you because we haven't talked to you since the Grizzlies moved on from Taylor Jenkins last Friday. Tomas Isalo takes over as interim head coach. But just because it's the freshest, the Grizzlies lost to the Celtics last night. How did you wake up feeling about it?
Man, I wanted to say discouraged, but it's almost like I woke up with way more questions than answers at this point. I woke up saying, okay, how do these guys want to go out this season? I mean, it's clear right now that you still have some runway and they can go. You're at a fork in the road, literally, with where you want to go. You got 7 games left. You're in April. This is supposed to be playoff ready month. And you got your 3 guys healthy. You got Ja, Jaren, and Dez all healthy. And you waited all season to give yourself an opportunity to get to this point, and we're here. And you really got to ask yourself, what do they want? Where do they want to go from here? And I think this is this is going to be a defining 7-game stretch to finish out April and figure out where this team and how this team gets into the postseason.
Yeah, I was kind of asking around last night, and I can't remember if I asked you. I think I might have. Have you ever seen a team like the Grizzlies who has fallen off so dramatically or had a shift in the vibe so dramatically as they have post-trade deadline, post-All-Star break, without significant injury to one of their major players? Because like you said, Ja, Jaren, and Dez, they're healthy right now. And sure, they've had their injuries throughout the season, been in and out of the lineup, but here right now on April 1st, we don't have the injury report for tonight going into the second night of a back-to-back. But last night, all 3 were available, and it feels unique for this Grizzlies team. I can't remember another instance of something like this happening.
No, I can't either. Well, but it was when you eliminate the injury factor of it, because when you got into the postseason a couple of seasons ago, and then the wheels fell off and you lost guys. But you know what? I know we don't like to bring this up around here, but that drop off in March 2 years ago was pretty steep too. You know what I mean? Yeah. After towards ACL and Ja had the incident in Denver, and then it just ballooned the other way. Right. And, you weren't able to really you kind of limped your way into, the postseason that year, and it just didn't finish off well. And this one right here, though, it's almost that one, as much as it's this one is even more self-inflicted. And you really have to, it's puzzling right now. It really is. And, I want to encourage the fan base, and I heard a call last night on our post-game radio show when Roser and Bennett were on it, and I think Miss Betty was the caller, and so shout out to Miss Betty, because one of the things that she said at the end was, we have to try to be the best fan base we can be right now under very difficult circumstances, and that said it all. That was the best way to articulate that, and you got to hope that these players look in the mirror and say, look, we've trained all season to get to this point, and we can't go out like that. We can't.
And I do think that's where, and shout out Miss Betty, one of my favorite eternal callers for the post-game show, and she always keeps things in perspective. And I think that's what Jaren Jackson Jr. was trying to do last night with his post-game remarks that come out of the locker room. And we don't even have the complete context of what the question was to Jaren that led to the, at least we're not homeless comment. And I understand where he was going with it. And I mentioned in the last segment, I tend to do this too. It's keeping things in perspective. It's a reality check for everybody. And there's an element of, life is bigger than basketball. You had LeBron James, I think it was last year in the postseason when things were going bad against the Nuggets. He said, it's just basketball. There were years back where Damian Lillard was asked about the pressure of playing in the NBA. And he was like, what real pressure is? Real pressure is, someone who's homeless and doesn't know where their next meal is coming from. It's well intended. But at this exact juncture, as we sit here on April 1st, and last night was the last night of March, and with 7 games left and riding this 3-game losing streak and having lost, 8 of your last 11 games, the urgency, and that's where I really hope the urgency is the difference that we see tonight against the Warriors, because it's do or die time. It's gut check time. And this team is just as close to falling into the play-in tournament as they are to shoring up a surefire first-round matchup in the playoffs.
They are. And, I think, and matter of fact, I know. I've been around as long as Jaren Jackson has been here, right? I remember when he was drafted. I remember sitting down with him before his first summer league game in Salt Lake City as a rookie. I was there, when he won Defensive Player of the Year. I remember all of these things in his growth. And no player on this Grizzlies roster has matured as professionally and as well as Jaren Jackson Jr. have. We literally saw him, come in as a teenager and become a grown man. And I think with the way that the emotions are right now around the team, the way the psyche is, you can slip up and say some things that can get misinterpreted. Yeah. And you're speaking from the heart. And right now your heart is in a very fluttery place right now when it comes to that. So, if he had a chance to do it over, I don't think he would have even referenced the homelessness, because the bottom line is that, look, the media wasn't surrounding Jaren Jackson Jr. in the locker room last night to get his thoughts on homelessness and the economy. Right. They weren't there for that. They were there to say, hey, I'm looking around. I just saw Ja walk off the court. Dez walk off the court. You walk off the court. All of y'all were healthy. You have a chance to win some big games at home, and you haven't been able to figure this thing out. Why is it this way? And, to go to the homelessness, yes, of course. You should never be homeless with the money that you've made and the money, frankly, that you've given. So this isn't a referendum on Jaren's character. Right. It was a mistimed and a misplaced reaction to a question that was fairly innocuous, and it could have been answered in a much different way. But we want to see this team do what it set out to do what it said it was supposed to do from the beginning. And right now they haven't been able to find their way out of this malaise right now. And I understand it. Their world got, shaken up. But they were part of the reason why the world got shaken up. So it's on the players. It really is. I've said this last night. I said it the night Taylor, the Friday when Taylor got dismissed. He had some issues, things were going in the wrong direction, but who's ultimately on the court making these things happen? It's the players at that point, and now it's really on.
Malaise is a very good word. Way to pull out remember when we used to do the thesaurus and we'd go big word for big word?
Those were fun times.
Those were the good old days. Malaise might send me back into it, but you're 100% right. And, looking back, and I'm curious to get your take on, obviously, the parting of ways with Taylor Jenkins on Friday, and that puts Tomas Isalo into the interim head coach role. And no matter what was going to occur, whether a coaching change happened or whether this team was playing its best basketball right now, its worst basketball right now, or somewhere in between, you were staring down a really difficult homestand with the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Warriors. To end March, to go into April, that was always on the schedule. And the way the season has panned out, it was going to be 3 very tough and very critical opportunities for this group. And so with Tomas coming in and this having to be his first 3 games, it's almost like a baptism by fire. It was a difficult situation for him to be put upon in the first place. And I'm curious, as you've sat through these last 2 games, if your original thoughts and what your original thoughts were when you found out the news about Taylor, how it perhaps has either solidified those thoughts or shifted those thoughts at all, or something else in between.
You know, I the first thing when I saw the release, I said, oh no, come on, man. No, this, you know, and I'm probably as close to the team as any, you know, local, internal, or external media member in terms of proximity and being around them on the road and all of those kind of things. So I knew some of the issues that were there. I didn't know that they rose to the level of, all right, we got to get rid of this guy right now. When you do that, you're saying we cannot go another day with this, which means that so far, so leading up to this, it was probably worse than what the team was leading everyone to believe. Or you're saying, you know what, it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the way. We need to make a change. So either way you go, you're at a pivot. And you're pivoting away from a guy. You're pivoting away from whatever stability that you had. And you're exposing a lot of things and raising a lot of questions that you're not really ready to answer right now. And, you know, that's tough. That's a tough place to be for an organization. That's a tough place to be for a fan base. You know, it's just really, really tough. Taylor Jenkins is a good man. You know, he's a good coach. He finished in the top 10 in NBA Coach of the Year 3 times in 6+ seasons. You know, he's done a fairly good job of getting this team to a level of, you know, being a really, really good competitor and contender in the league. Could he take them to the next step to become a champion? That's where the question lies. But I didn't think that necessarily had to be answered right now in the midst of your playoff push. But they felt like it did. So when you make a bold move like that, you're either saying we have to get better right away and we have enough time to change this, or you're saying, well, I forget about whatever else is coming up. And if you're going to go down one of those 2 tracks, you know, you can't just continue to be what you were before you made the decision. Right now, we're seeing much of the same from the Grizzlies right now in terms of how they're executing and playing on the floor. So it's a tough space. It's a tough time. But I still think there's time. You got 7 games in April to get yourself together and go into a first-round playoff series and try to be competitive. As long as Ja, Jaren, and Dez are healthy, that's your $600 million core. That's what you said you needed the last 2 times you got eliminated in the playoffs, and you got to take your chances and go from there. No matter who's going to coach it, this is going to be the roster at least until it's deconstructed.
And it's, again, starts tonight. Like, every opportunity is a new opportunity as we approach these last 7 games. What do you see in this matchup with the Warriors tonight? They've gotten Steph Curry back. They are a team that, since adding Jimmy Butler, not sure what the exact record is at this moment, but when Steph and Jimmy both play, they've been a very successful team, a much different team than the one that started the year for Golden State. And as they creep closer and closer to the Grizzlies in the standings, they've been here. They had the night off. Grizzlies will be on the second night of a back-to-back. What does this team need to do to get it done? And how do they start with not allowing Steph Curry to take wide-open threes?
Well, I tell you what, man, the Warriors have been on a 750 winning percentage since Jimmy Butler got there. You know what I mean? Those guys have the best, if not the best record in the NBA outside of Oklahoma City. Since the trade deadline, they're right up there. They're top 3 record in the NBA since then. And the way that they've been able to do it is playing and scoring on all 3 levels and defending a lot better because they're controlling the pace. Jimmy Butler is a pace controlling wing player and guard, and he allows Steph Curry to roam without the basketball. And then you got an infusion of energy from Draymond Green. They're playing a little bit tougher. The role players have stepped up into some roles, and they've been able to navigate some injuries to kind of keep it afloat. This is a big-time game right here. We keep saying this. Each one of these 3 games was the most important game of the Grizzlies season. They missed the opportunity against the Lakers because the Lakers were reeling a little bit too. They weren't sure of who they were. Now they've come back and had some really nice wins because they beat Houston last night. You catch Boston without the MVP of the finals in Jaylen Brown, and you're not able to beat that Boston team that you beat earlier when they were relatively full strength. And now you get the Warriors team, and if you lose this one, you're looking at, you know, the play-in. You're essentially in the play-in, you know, if you lose to the Warriors tonight. So if that's how you want to go out, that's, you know, again, all we can do is evaluate what's happened and what we see I think the Grizzlies are better than what they're showing right now, and they just have to go out there and prove it.
Mike, the chat wants to know if you started watching Boondocks yet.
I haven't started watching Boondocks yet because I'm waiting on your DVDs, man. You
Okay.
told me.
All right.
So it's your fault.
All right, I'll bring them. I'll find them and bring them. I
done
didn't
found
know if you
something I could play
grabbed the
on.
Mac.
I got my son's video game system set up so I can actually play the DVDs. I'm ready, man. I'm waiting on you, CJ.
All right, I got you.
You did. You mentioned that Lakers win over the Rockets last night, and
Yeah.
I think it's an easy thing or it's a natural thing, I should say, for fans to like relitigate the past. And so there's been a lot of missing of Dylan Brooks recently, and I think that's fair because the defensive identity of this team has bottomed out, and obviously not having. Yes, CJ?
How is that fair when the fan base ran them out of town?
Well,
the way
no.
that they did?
I'm going to put it and make sure that people understand how that game against the Lakers ended last night because it was like prototype Dylan Brooks. He had an excellent stop on LeBron James and then went full hero ball on the other side and ended up missing a shot that ultimately led to Houston losing that game. So like just, always add the context around everything. The grass is always greener. You're always missing what you don't have. But I think sometimes like distance makes or what's the word I'm looking for? Absence makes thank you. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah. And people are kind of reimagining. When someone dies and all of a sudden, like, you forget all the bad that ever happened with that person. Like, we kind of memorialize people in a very lovely way, and I think that's a beautiful thing. That happens with players on teams who leave your team and go elsewhere. And he has had a successful season in Houston. But watching that game last night, I was like, that's a memory right there.
Yeah, and seeing Houston kind of rebound, because remember they slipped down the standings too when they went injury issues and Van Vliet was out for a while, and they slipped all the way down below below the Grizzlies. They were like 6th or something at one point in the standings, and now they regrouped and got it together and climbed their way back up. Nobody on that Houston team has ever gotten as far, in terms of continuity. They barely, they basically just put that team together a year and a half ago. So. It's frustrating to see that, Oklahoma City came together after the Grizzlies core got together. Houston came together after the Grizzlies core got together. Denver was already there. This Lakers iteration came together 2 weeks ago, basically, from that standpoint. Golden State just reshuffled their rotation and roster. And so and then Minnesota, you were ahead of them. That team is right behind you. The Clippers, were a mess in injury purgatory last year. And now, that's a team that you can't. So it's like all of these teams have shifted or made some major changes. The Grizzlies have had their core pretty much intact, and you thought that continuity was going to help them. And now, right now, it's just, like I said, there's so many questions that this team has to answer, and you can only start answering them with your performance on the court and your decision-making when it comes to the rotation, the roster, and those kind of things. And right now, this Grizzlies franchise is under, it's under a microscope right now with everything that they're doing moving forward.
Okay, so assuming the big three play tonight and Ja, Jaren, and Dez, and assuming, which I know is a bold assumption, Dez had an off night last night. We rarely have seen them all score 20 plus, and the last time we did it was the Lakers game, and the Grizzlies still lost. But let's just assume that they all have adequate games at worst, good games at best, or great games at best. What role player is most important tonight against the Warriors? Who is the most important number 4 player in this matchup?
It's got to be Santi Aldama. It's got to be Santi. That's your sixth man, your best guy coming off the bench. He was your offensive spark plug. He's the guy that has to be able to stretch the floor, take smart shots, keep your offense flowing. He's got to be the guy. I want to say Luke Kennard, but Luke is I don't know if he's in his head, or is he hesitant, or he's trying to do something that that he shouldn't be trying to do. I want to say Jalen Wells, but I can't really rely on the rookie at this point in terms of being the guy that you say has to step up. Whatever they give you is a bonus, but Santi's been around. He's got to be the next man to be able to do some big things with this team. If the other three are playing up to perfection or near perfection, Santi has to be the next guy behind them, closing the door on any other opportunities that they have to win this game.
Before I let you go, Mike, the Oklahoma City Thunder put up yet another massive number last night, 145 points in a win over the Chicago Bulls. They have been tremendous against the Eastern Conference. They've been tremendous against anyone this season. Just how confident are you in this Thunder team going into the playoffs? Because there continues to be the the small hesitation of actually believing in them to be the representative out of the West. I just heard someone, I can't remember who it was, saying the prediction for them is Lakers Celtics in the finals. And I'm sure TV executives everywhere would absolutely adore seeing a lot of purple and gold and a lot of green and all that comes with Boston, LA. But the Thunder, every time I'm doing a score update during a Grizzlies game and I see another representation of what the Thunder have done, I'm like, why the doubt around this team? They are so damn good.
Well, it's that doubt, and that was a John Roser quote. So you got to throw that out the window.
Was that Roser?
Yes. That was Roser, who said he truly believes it's going to be the Lakers and the Celtics in the NBA Finals.
That's right. It was. I heard it on the radio on my drive home on the post game show.
Yeah. So hey, take that with a grain of salt, man.
Okay. But he's not the only one. He's not alone in that thought.
I think at this point, though, Oklahoma City has answered as many questions as they can answer right now. Right. Yeah. Until they get to the Western Conference Finals and take that next step to the NBA Finals. I see no weakness in that team when they're healthy. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is playing as perfectly of basketball as I've seen both ways, probably since, for a duration of a season, probably since Kawhi Leonard when he led the Spurs to their championship. Like there was he's doing it so effortlessly and he's doing it on both ends. And they play so well together. They're so connected. Every role player is stepping up in big shots. That team just has to stay healthy. If they stay healthy, then they can beat anybody coming out of the East. I would love to see them healthy going up against a healthy Boston team because just the size, the length, the athleticism, and the dynamic play that both teams can have would be remarkable to watch in the finals. But, again, you're right. There is still some doubt because we haven't seen them do it before. But I think once they do it and once we see them, get to that stage, I don't think there's going to be any more doubt after that.
All right, Mike, we'll see you tonight on the warm-up before Grizzlies Warriors at FedEx Forum. Hey, it's another big game. I'll see you for the big game.
Yeah, it's another big game. And we got to, again, it's not over. The season is not over. You have 7 regular season games left. You can still get it home court advantage. 4 is not out of reach. You can go get it and salvage what you can this season. Do it for yourself, man. If you're not doing it for anyone else, do it for yourself because this is your reputation on the line. And our summer is going to be determined by what happens over these next 7, 8, 9 games.
Who are you talking to, Mike?
I'm talking to Grizzlies Nation.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody in the nation.
Grizzlies in totality. I'm with you.
Okay.
As we wrap up the Grizzlies.
There we go.
The Grizzlies talk of the day to everybody involved in the Grizzlyverse.
Let's pull it together, man. Let's pull it together.
Get it together.
From Desmond Bain to Miss Betty to all of us that's connected.
Everything in between.
To the Grizzlies. Let's pull it together, man.
In a circle, in a hoop that never ends. The colors of the wind. Yes. The colors of the Memphis Grizzlies. Bleed blue.
Did you say colors or colored?
Colors.
Oh, okay.
It's a song. CJ, come on. I'm trying to do my motivational speech here. I, Jessica Jane Benson, who famously did not pass the AP statistics exam because I spent the time where the rest of the class was preparing for the final exam, the AP exam. I was in the back watching March Madness on my laptop. It's a true story. It's how I went down. So I don't claim statistics, but I'm just going to assume the Grizzlies have as good of odds as getting home court advantage in the playoffs as they do in falling into the play-in tournament. Don't check my math. Just go with it. You don't come to this show for mathematically accurate facts. You come to this show for hopes, for dreams.
And see, Jess, and you know what, Jess? Every other person that passed that exam, none of them have their own show.
It's true. It's so true. Mike, you have a great rest of your day.
You too,
That's
guys.
on positivity. That's on turning this all around. See? You just got to be up for 4 hours before you finally find some reason to be optimistic in this day. All right, everybody, we will take a break. We are going to come back. Will Coleman is going to join us. Will Coleman, who I believe is bringing us a snack. That's exciting. We will also talk to Will about the Memphis Tigers. We didn't have a chance to catch up with him last week, so we haven't talked to him since the Tigers season came to an end. So we'll get his ultimate thoughts on how this season went, his thoughts on Penny's attacking of the transfer portal, who he hopes to see still on this roster, who he hopes ends up being on this roster, and his thoughts on the men's Final Four. That's all when we come back.
Let's face it, There's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do their talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock,
they knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by
And
WWE.
then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th-round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage. Total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
In honor of George Foreman, decided to do a pick 6 on 6 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time.
Number 4, my guy, Mike Tyson. There is no greater feat that I've had. Like if I had my Mount Rushmore of things that I've accomplished in my life, the very first time I beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Everybody knows that. Everybody says, God, that's CJ Hurt. He's so serious. He takes his job so seriously.
Thank goodness Jessica is here to bring the laughter.
A little levity is needed. It's a morning show, not 60 Minutes. CJ's out here trying to be a capital J journalist, trying to keep things.
That's why I have
right
such a strong
down the track.
following in the chat.
Yes.
With CJ Twerks and CJ Squirter. And yes. And Jessica Jinkson and CJ Pervs. Yes.
Yeah. Will Coleman joins us in studio now. It's a Tuesday. We missed him last week. He's back, and he comes bearing
you got
gifts.
meat for me.
Please,
Hey,
Will. Say you
listen.
have something that brightens our day.
Look. Okay, look. Let me tell you something. I understand and know where we live. Okay, we in Memphis, Tennessee. I get that. I understand that.
Yes.
But
Thank you for reminding people. We are in Memphis, Tennessee. We sit in front of FedEx Forum. We are not in Boston or
Downtown.
Los Angeles or Golden State.
But I'm just gonna say I'm willing. It may not work out, but I'm willing to throw my hat in the ring because I brought y'all some baby back ribs today.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go. So
Baby back ribs.
So
Baby back ribs.
So I of course these two are worth it. Love these two to death. Got minimal amounts of sleep because I wanted to smoke these for you guys.
Wow. Wow.
So.
Oh my. Will, these look fire. Yeah, come on.
So
no, come on. Jacob, you can do it.
There's one right there. There's one right there.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Oh, they're glistening.
Yeah, that's what I do, baby.
Baby back.
Of course, you take the big one.
Yeah, sorry.
Now, I feel like I could have made them a little more spicy, but I know some people really don't like spicy meat, so I just try to.
Oh my God. Do you make ribs often?
I mean, when I got the time, yeah, that's what I do. I like to get on the grill.
This is like barbecue fest come early. Will.
That's when barbecue fest comes early.
Holy smokes. what's I'm not trying to ask your secret, but like, where are we cooking these bad boys? Like
in my backyard.
In your backyard,
Yeah,
on the grill?
Yeah. On my grill emporium. On my whole little setup. Marinate them, bind them, throw them on the smoker.
I'm just saying, you can't be mad about a Grizzlies loss when you have ribs before 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It does feel very like barbecue fest light though, because suddenly at barbecue fest you're like, why am I eating ribs at 11 a.m.?
I mean, what we got? A month. It's April.
I know.
We got a month.
It's coming.
So this is perfect prequel.
This is so good. Just a nice little snack to start the day.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah.
I slowed down. Chris was kind enough to bring me a croissant from San Francisco. His.
You might just go ahead, just dive into it. You just go ahead, man. It's all good.
We went to one of the best croissant places, and I only ate half of it this morning because I knew you were bringing something in. I just didn't know what, and that's great news. So, Will, we're a week and some change removed. CJ's still gonna smack on these ribs, but Memphis Tigers season came to an end earlier than we expected. We weren't able to catch up with you last week. It was a disappointing end to a successful season. Is that a fair way to categorize the Memphis Tigers of this past year?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I mean, and it just goes into, like you said, it just goes into, being able to adjust and adapt. And I say it all the time. And you can see a lot of people, you'll see a lot of people on the internet with their teams and things like that. And they get into the whole, if we would have had this player, we would have did this. Or if we would have had our best player. Well, yeah, if we would have had Tyrese Hunter, we probably would have beat Colorado State by 20.
It's easy to think woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, man. So it's easy to throw stuff like that into the ring, but I just hate it was just in playing devil's advocate. It was just a bad break, man. Not having that point guard, not being able to open up the offense, not being able to let Danger work. I mean, that really hurt us.
Playing
Nick,
a very good 12 seed in Colorado State.
Nick wasn't able to. Nick couldn't hit from the outside. Danger was getting damn near triple teamed. So we really didn't have anybody to open up that perimeter so Danger could really get to work, and that really hurt us. I mean, you could see in the offense and what we were doing. And I think a lot of people – first off, the NCAA just underseeded everybody, man. I mean, I don't think the seeding was correct. I think teams were a lot better than they were seeded. But,
it's the opposite for Memphis, though, too. I mean, getting a 5 seed felt like a pretty big win considering we were questioning if they'd be in the 8-9 game.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
But, I mean, it's all across the board.
You end up playing Colorado State.
All across the board. The only thing they got right is obviously the 1 seeds, and they're all here. I know it's been raving. It's been all over the news. Last time that's happened is 2008. Obviously, our Tigers were there.
Yeah.
But those number 1 seeds, they've all done what they were supposed to throughout this tournament.
Are ribs your favorite barbecue to make? Are ribs your favorite barbecue to make?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. When did you learn to get on the grill? Are you on a barbecue fest team?
Mm-mm.
Do you want to be?
I mean, I've never.
Somebody should invite Will Coleman to be on their barbecue fest team. You even have what's your hat situation?
So I'm a huge Rich Froning fan.
Okay.
He's a huge CrossFitter, kind of fitness influencer.
I thought it was a pig. My bad.
It's a buffalo. Buffalo is actually my favorite animal, and so Froning Farms is the FF.
I'm having one more. That's when you know it's really good.
Do it.
Thank you, CJ. Thanks, Dad. Yeah, I'm gonna be asleep. I'm gonna be asleep by
Oh, you're gonna get the itis for sure. If you
Absolutely. I knew.
What's my boy name? I know he on the cameras. I always hear his name a lot. Jacob. Come get a rib, dog.
So it's one of those things where you hope that this represents a momentum shift for the Tigers, which is, again, an interesting thing because it's not like they haven't been to the NCAA tournament under Penny Hardaway. They still haven't made it to the second weekend of the tournament in 16 years. That's a drought that desperately needs to be broken. However, you come off a 30-win season, you won the regular season outright in the AAC, you win the championship. It feels like there's something to build upon, but as is the nature of college basketball right now, your carryover from this year's team is going to be limited. There is a hope that PJ Haggerty could come back. He has not made a decision. He has not entered the transfer portal at this point. You have him, you have Dante Harris, you have Buna Kebe, who didn't play much. Dane Danger's submitted a waiver to try to get an extra year of eligibility, but you can never predict how the NCAA is going to act with that. I am curious for PJ Haggerty specifically, because that feels big. Like if Haggerty came back, what's your message, or what would be your message to him to try to convince him to stay and play an additional year here at Memphis?
Man, honestly, there are so many things. I guess the biggest thing is like just the city is obviously in love with him, and you know how I've been able to live my life and the things I've been able to transition into and the opportunities that has been given to me or shown to me outside of basketball. I think that's something to think about. And, you know, I can't say that for every city. I don't know how every city works. Some cities may be like, oh, okay, he's just an alumni.
What?
Some city.
What's up?
Will's
making a very poignant point. Oh, my bad. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, no, you're making it worse. I cannot eat food like a normal person.
Just the love and the city that this city gives.
Yeah.
I think that's something to think about. I mean, because I've always been able to have a space and have a place to be here in Memphis, Tennessee, because I've, you know, was the one that stayed, and I just love loving on this city, man. So
there's a care factor.
Yeah, and the city gonna look after you and take care of you. That's just what they do.
There's gonna be some level of a significant NIL bag. I don't know if you can.
Oh, for sure, man. Somebody
with every offer.
Somebody gonna.
But if you're able to weigh the difference of a couple $1 million, but you know, there is something to be said about being somewhere where you're happy, where you're loved, where you're appreciated, and where you have something to build upon too. If he does stay, is there like a prototype of player or players that you would hope to build around PJ Haggerty that would perhaps make the team an even better version of what you saw this year?
Gotta get him some shooters. Because if we have some, and I know that's been a thing for Memphis just thinking of, you know, obviously you had David Jones, you know, all the way back to Robert Saleh, Donnell Mack, Chris Crawford. Man, finding like a pure knockdown shooter, and you got, you know, guys like Kobe Rogers this past year, somebody that's just automatic because Haggerty can create. He can get to the basket whenever he wants. But if you got those shooters out there who can stay honest and leave PJ in those one-on-one matchups, I think we fared pretty well whenever PJ has the ball and he got to get to the basket. I think he's pretty successful at that. So having somebody that can really stretch the floor and shoot the ball will be, you know, extremely important. For PJ Haggerty.
As you mentioned, we have 4 number 1 seeds in the men's Final Four. Who's your favorite of the 4?
Man, obviously I picked Florida to win my bracket, but man, I really like Duke, and specifically, man, I like how Proctor has grown over the season.
Yeah.
I mean, dude has just turned it on and has been balling out of his mind, man. And just watching all of them click and play the way they have been, I just don't see them. I think they're hard to beat, man. Cooper Flagg is hands down the best basketball player in NCAA basketball right now, and he plays like it. Even a bad game for him is like 10, 8, and 4. I mean, it's just unreal, and that's what a pro does. Even on their bad days, they find a way to show up, and he constantly delivers. So as much as I want Florida to win, because I'm a fan of Walter as well over on Florida. I really like his game. I think he's one of the best guards in the country. But I don't know, man. You got Proctor putting on how he is. You got Knipple showing up. He's just a.
Knipple's one of my favorites. Of the
I
tournament.
love the nipple.
Yeah. Knipple, thank you.
I
is not silent.
Yeah, and then you got Big Fella who's just altering. I think altered shots and deflections should be a stat.
Yeah.
In a stat book, but when you got Big Fella down there, I forget his name. Altering shots the way he is and playing above the rim and blocking shots.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Malulak.
Yeah, it's a crazy name, but I just, man, Duke just a complete package right now, and it seems I thought they were going to hit a wall.
And they're so young.
Yeah,
that's
man.
what's crazy. Like this tournament has been such a testament to some of these older teams. Like you look at Auburn starting 5, you look at Houston starting 5, and there's a lot of age there. And then in complete difference, you have Duke, who still is 18, 19, 19. Every time they talk about Cooper Flagg, his youth is just absurd. It makes me even more curious. I wish we had more film from his camp with Team USA. Because remember, that's when people really started raising eyebrows. He was on the scene, but after the word got out that he had performed so well there, people were like, oh, I really got to pay attention to Cooper Flagg. And then it becomes abundantly clear why so many teams in the NBA this season were like, throw it all away.
Yeah,
Let's try to get this guy.
6'10", put the ball on the floor, can shoot it, play defense. I mean, come on, dog. It's a blessing and a curse to be a number 1 pick, because it's like if you're a number 1 pick, you're probably going to go to one of the crappiest, I don't want to say organizations, but you're going to go to a place where in the past a lot of people are like, man, I am not going to play in that city. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like, what do? Do you go back to school? Do you go overseas for a year? Do you go to G League? Nah. I know he's not going. I'm just saying, I know he's not going to do that, but I'm just saying that's the the blessing and the curse behind it, man. Just being in that spot, technically having to go where you have to go.
Did you have something you wanted to say, CJ?
I thought we were going to go to Olivia Miles' decision. Because she's faced with that, decided, hey, I'm going to come back an extra year. Now, that's women's basketball as opposed to
so
men's,
different.
Right?
And with Olivia Miles, and this was, arguably the craziest transfer portal story that we've had yet. And the crux of it is Olivia Miles, who's projected to be the number 2 pick in this year's WNBA draft, has decided that she is going to return to college for an additional year. And it makes sense on the women's side, because right now, if you are a top 4 pick, I believe it is, in the WNBA draft, so you're one of the top 4 rookies, you're making, what was the number that they were at? You are making 70, I wrote it down. Hold on, I don't want to get this wrong. $76,000.
Yeah.
And so in comparison, if you're one of the best players in women's college basketball, you look at players and through endorsements as well, and if she can grow further into that space. Olivia Miles, there was a time this season where we were looking at Notre Dame and the backcourt of Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo and saying, there is nothing better in college basketball. Now things reportedly, and obviously if you have eyes and watched, they stopped being able to work together. They're 2 on-ball dominant players, and it just didn't work out for them, whether there be personal reasons for that, along with just style of play reasons for that.
Not the spoon. Grab the green thing. Grab the green thing.
The green thing?
Look, in the cup, there's a green in there.
Thank you. That's so nice of you. Yeah. But some people raised their eyebrows and said, why would she do this? Her draft stock will never be higher. And that could be true, although technically she could go out and have a flaming hot season next year and end up somehow being a 2 pick or above. But it really doesn't matter, because the WNBA is in the process of renegotiating a new CBA. Right. And the hope would be that future rookie deals, even if she fell, even if she wasn't top 2 pick in the draft, that rookie deal in the future is going to be better than what she would get right now. So it's a unique situation for the women's games, and you have to have all of those details laid out in order for it to make sense. But I do think, there was at least a little flirtation throughout the year of, would Cooper Flagg return to Duke for an additional season? And someday somebody's going to do it. And as money gets bigger and bigger, that's been abundantly clear too. The money in college basketball is here, it's huge, and it's continuing to grow.
He making what I know the money is significantly larger in the NBA, obviously, but I even think just what does a rookie make? A guaranteed, because he's making he's making $5 million this year, right? I think that was what was reported. But even if he does get drafted, all his money, I mean, a lot of those NBA guys, a lot of their money come from endorsements and shoe deals and bubble gum and soda. And I mean, it's just all kind of crazy stuff that, these people sign money for. But, I don't see why I know the goal is for men, it's a little different than women. In the end game is to play professional basketball in the NBA. But, I mean, when you look at it, it's like if you can get $5 million now and then get another 5, 6, 7, 8 million next year, I mean, I don't know, man. It's a lot to think about, man. I mean, because he's going to be guaranteed money if he get drafted. But it's like you said, it's getting to that point to where, how much money are you willing to turn down?
Yeah. And do you enjoy the time? The thing with Olivia Miles, though, too, is that she's playing a transfer. That's also crazy. You're not returning to stay at the place where you've built up your profile thus far, and you were on a successful Notre Dame team, even though their season falls short and they don't make it to the Elite Eight. But that's what's crazy is not only is Olivia Miles choosing not to go into the WNBA draft, she's also transferring from Notre Dame.
It got to. I mean, it's either the money or the coach. And for me as a basketball player, looking at this kind of stuff, no matter
or the player fit.
But how? But what kind? I mean, how though? If you putting on the way you putting on.
Maybe she wants to showcase more of what she can do, and she can point to players who transferred, prominent players who have transferred in the women's game and improve their draft stock. Angel Reese immediately comes to mind, transferring from Maryland to LSU. Speaking of LSU, we've seen what Van Lith has done, going from Louisville to LSU to TCU, right? Like there's a blueprint for doing that, making money in the women's college game, transferring, leaving programs to set yourself up for a better, I guess, more involvement, a better showcase of what you're able to do and how that can benefit you later on. Right now, you brought up the rookie scale as it pertains to Cooper Flagg. We're all assuming Cooper Flagg is going 1. Yeah. This year, the number 1 overall draft pick started off with $10 million first year salary. So he would still, even though it's not as much as what the superstars are making, he would still be making double the $5 million that he's getting right now.
All right. Well, thank you for making our morning, CJ. Thank you for the floss. Maybe the nicest thing you've ever done for me on this here show. I gotta keep these pearly whites clean, I understand. Can't keep my face clean, but I'll keep this clean. These are phenomenal. If you ever need Will to cook you anything, you should really start a business. I'm just saying,
man,
like a little extra.
The restaurant business.
Between not a full restaurant business, but like a
just sell racks of ribs.
Catering. Yeah, just racks of ribs. You can sell racks of ribs at the. Why can't I think of the name of the market? The farmers market.
Farmers market.
Thank you. CJ, I didn't sleep very much last night. I sat in bed thinking about.
But you've got brain food and ribs, though. That should wake your brain up.
Blueberries, salmon, and ribs.
Yes.
Brain food.
Croissant.
And a croissant.
From the other side of the U.S.
From San Francisco, but I feel kind of gross for eating a San Francisco croissant before the Grizzlies are going to face the Warriors. It feels like a traitor move. Anyway, I apologize for it. But, Will, thanks for being here always. We'll continue to catch up with you.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll figure it out. We'll still talk basketball. We'll bring you through maybe the rest of the NBA season. We'll figure it out. But we appreciate the food that you have brought along the way.
No, always. We'll
take a quick break. We will come back. We will talk about the women's Final Four that is set and a little bit more about Haley Van Lith, whose college journey did come to an end with TCU's loss to Texas last night. My USC Trojans fell to UConn. They are moving on. They are the underdog, which feels like a weird thing to say. We'll get into all that, plus TV Tuesday, what we're watching. I will keep dictating with this floss when we come back.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this
this
story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. The women's Final Four is set. We have 3 number 1 seeds and a number 2 seed. All in all of college basketball, between men's and women's, we have 7 number 1 seeds and 1 number 2 seed. And wouldn't you know, the plucky underdog is the UConn Huskies. How about them? As predicted, UConn beat USC last night. UConn advances to play UCLA in the semifinals. It really stinks because we were robbed of an opportunity to see Juju Watkins and Paige Beckers face off yet again. I watched that game last night and thought, if USC had been in any other region, I think they would have had a chance, even without Juju Watkins. The way that their freshmen rose to the occasion, and that does give me reason to be really excited about the future for USC basketball, even with Juju scheduled now post-ACL tear, post-surgery to have to miss next season. But Kennedy Smith, Avery Howell, Kaylee Heckel, remember their names going into next year because there is a lot of promise in the youth at USC. They have another really exciting player. Her name's Jazzy, which I love. Jazzy Davidson, who was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Oregon. But she'll add another influx of youth. We talked about Olivia Miles. I know early reports were she's interested in TCU. I would love Olivia Miles at USC.
I would love her at Michigan, right?
Great.
Like, what are we doing here?
I'm just saying things I would love.
We're just naming one of the 5 best women's basketball players next year. Returning 5 best women's basketball players. And I'm just saying Michigan could use her.
You want the ball in your hand more, Olivia Miles?
Everybody would love to have Olivia Miles on their team.
Have you seen the weather? Have you seen the Big Ten weather graph in January? USC 70 and sunny.
Don't you want to go to a program with a rich, storied women's basketball tradition like Michigan?
Sounds like USC to me.
How crazy is it that I saw this? The last Big Ten team to win the women's championship was Purdue in like the 90s, I think.
Ooh.
Maybe the 80s.
Ooh.
It was over 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and UCLA's got a chance to be.
Yeah, and that will never sound right. UCLA has a chance to be the first since Purdue. Vaunted, storied conference members, Purdue and UCLA. As for UConn, it is certainly strange that they're in the underdog spot. I did watch the end of that game last night when I got home from the Grizzlies game, and watching Gino Auriemma with the confetti around him. They didn't cut down the nets because, frankly, UConn's been about this life. They haven't won a championship since 2016. So it's been a while by their standards, but this is their 24th trip to the Final Four in program history. 24 24. That is the most appearances by a men's or women's team, not counting vacated trips or anything, but I believe it's the UNC men who are closest with 21, and then the closest women's team is Tennessee with 18, but this will be UConn's 24th.
Purdue won in 99.
Oh, thanks.
So, yeah.
Good old Boilermakers.
Shout out to the Boilermakers.
Paige was great again, had 31. That freshman for UConn, speaking of really, really impressive freshmen, Sarah Strong. She's in like Maya Moore territory, most 20 and 10 games in a tournament history since Maya Moore. She gave the pre-half interview. She doesn't sound like a freshman. She doesn't look like a freshman. I'm like, oh dear God, 3 more years of this. Like, this is what UConn does. They just recycle. They continue to be dominant. It does feel weird that they have not won it all since 2016, and yet they are still so elevated. What Dawn Staley and South Carolina have done has been so impressive in itself, but UConn stays hanging around. Like, Gino is still Gino.
That's the best thing to me about college basketball.
Yeah.
Is you don't necessarily have to win a championship for everybody to acknowledge that, oh no, this is a great program here. And UConn, having not won one since 2016, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they appeared in all of the Final Fours since 2016. I'll double check that. But because they appear in Elite Eights and in Final Fours consistently, constantly, we don't look at UConn and say, oh, when is Gino going to win the big one? We're like, he keeps getting to Final Fours. He keeps getting to Elite Eight. Like, this is a damn good program right here.
I really like him.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really strange thing.
He's been coaching long enough to be interesting, loved, hated,
and
despised, liked, and to your point, reloved.
Yeah. I like how he talks about his players. I like how he fights for his players. He obviously was very vocal about the fact that they had to play in Spokane in a regional, and what women's basketball and what the committee and the powers that be in basketball have made teams like a UConn do, and having to travel from Spokane to Tampa for the Final Four starting later this week. But anyway, we'll see how it goes for UConn against UCLA. I hated UCLA, so I'll obviously be Team UConn in this one. The other game of the night, Texas beat TCU 58-47. They advanced to play South Carolina. Madison Booker. Keep her in mind. She has such a smooth little mid-range game. I had that game up on my laptop for a little bit. For Texas, she led the way in last night's win. Vic Schaefer's quote about knowing that he's not his players' world, but they are his. Heart-wrenching. It was just a beautiful moment for Vic following the win. And then speaking of heart-wrenching, like, it's the end of Haley Van Lith's college career, which we have had 5 seasons of, and I truly believe that Haley Van Lith will go down as one of the college greats. And it's not just because of the accolades that she's collected on the court. Like, yes, there is the notion that she's the first player, men's or women's, to reach 5 straight Elite Eights, and she did it with 3 different teams, with Louisville, with LSU, with TCU. She was Big 12 Player of the Year this year, previously a 2-time ACC first-teamer. She has the most NCAA tournament wins of any Division I player in history. Like, she will go down as a college great for her play and her activity on the court, but she'll also go down as a college great for her story. Like, her quotes last night were so raw and open, and she's been that way, right? Like, she's been really open about her journey with mental health, what it meant to play college basketball for 5 years, and the ups and downs of her mental health, and finding joy in life and in basketball through some of those struggles. And I just thought she had some of the most powerful words that I've heard from a player following the end of a career or the end of a season, where she talked about how she always felt as if God put being great on her heart, and then she wasn't able to measure up to that, and having to deal with that not working out, and then having the gratitude for the hard journey and the suffering. And like, she went as far as like thanking God for the nights that she didn't want to be alive anymore, and for the times that she had to have medication because she couldn't sleep and she couldn't eat, and how she framed it all as like this beautiful thing called life that she's learned to enjoy. If you have the opportunity, it was a little bit long of a soundbite, like, go listen to it. Scott Van Pelt played it on SportsCenter last night, which is when I first heard it, but it was just beautiful. And frankly, I will miss Haley Van Lith in the college basketball space. I look forward to seeing what's next for her, but absolutely one of the greats of college basketball history.
Another great thing about college basketball is that right after those losses, right after the loss to end your collegiate career for some, and for most, your athletic career playing in any sort of meaningful competitive way, you get those raw moments and moments where you can say, hey, didn't win it all. I don't think you ever won it all, but you had a stellar career for all the reasons you said, Jessica. Haley Van Lith had a stellar career. Can you reflect on that some and talk to us a little bit about what that means for you? And her answer, like thought-provoking, insightful, is really good stuff. And it's been a lot of young men and young women this season and in seasons past give those types of answers. And I think that one of the lost in that, did my team win or lose? What's my team doing in the free agency market? That lost in that sort of stuff as it pertains to sports is the way that sports explains the human condition, I think, better than anything else we have as a societal collective, because there are pressures in sports just like there are pressures in your real life. You will be successful, you will fail, and how you respond to the successes and the failures is what makes you you, and what makes you at the end of the day a good or a bad person. And when we get those moments showcased on camera in front of us for all to see, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I appreciate Haley Van Lith and all the other athletes this year and in seasons past who give us that. It allows us to grapple with our failures. It allows us to grapple with our mortality, with us getting older. I'm able to look at Van Lith, and I know she's going to go on to play in the WNBA in some capacity, right? But I'm able to I'm looking at her. I think she's a first-round draft pick. Last mock draft I saw, she was a first-round draft pick. And I'm able to look at her grappling with her end, and I can grapple with the ends of things that have happened in my life, be it the end of my basketball playing career or the end of my pharmacy school career, and the various relationships that I've had with loved ones. Like, it's just a beautiful thing to see, and I applaud her, like I said, for giving us that moment.
And gives future athletes a template to maybe not have to go through the lowest of the lows, right? Yeah. Like, if you can understand this is a universal experience, it makes it a little bit easier along the way, and it takes transparency from someone like her and the other athletes that you mentioned. Anyway, exciting times. We got both Final Four set, a lot of chalk, but I look forward to when the games begin. Coming up on Thursday is the first games for the... Is it Thursday? No, it's Friday for the women. The first games are for the women on Friday.
I know UConn plays Friday at 8. UConn UCLA is Friday at 8.
Yes. And Texas, South Carolina is at 6. And then championship game is, of course, Sunday between the men's on Saturday and Monday. And then the college basketball season will come to a conclusion. In the meantime, I'm so behind on television. We did get some TV news this week, which feels important because I do watch a lot of formerly known as HBO, turned HBO Go, turned HBO Max, turned Max. And Max did release their new branding. And I just got to say, why? Why make something worse? I mean, HBO Go was bad, but then they resituated it and it was good with HBO Max. And then I even took Max and at least it was bright blue. I liked the blue and the purple, but I'll take the blue. And now it's just chrome. And are we taking color out of everything in this world?
It's a dead, soulless place we live in now.
And that logo represents it.
I had to change my avatar for HBO Max. I had Dino. I had Dino as my avatar, and they took Dino down, so I had to go with Scooby.
I have Tanya from The White Lotus.
Okay.
Jennifer Coolidge's character.
Nice.
It's a good one. That's probably my favorite avatar of any of mine. My only other one I can think of is I'm Belle for Disney Plus. Which Chris always gets mad about because he's like, she has Stockholm Syndrome.
Do you?
Maybe.
Is
Ask
Chris
my
your
husband.
beast?
Let's see how he performs at tonight's Grizzlies Warriors game. Okay, he's been given some words.
Chris is a sexy beast.
He's been given some.
What do you mean?
Some
Given
advice.
some words.
Told him to tone it down.
For what? It's going to be full of Warriors fans. He's going to be right at home.
No, the last time they were here, I was receiving text messages from our coworkers saying, wow, we just realized it's your husband who's the crazy Warriors fan. I'm like, I cannot have that.
Why can't you?
Because he's using my tickets.
Wait. Once you are married, you cleave to one another.
I know, so I
his
can't have
tickets.
him representing
so
me.
So they're his tickets.
I can't have this.
Goodness gracious.
This is a tough time. I can't have, God, he's got to tone it down just a little bit. Just a smidgen.
Don't turn shit down, Christopher. Turn up.
He doesn't watch it this time. He's already on his show out at Seacrest Studios. Too bad. So sad. I'm behind on The White Lotus. The finale is this coming week, so I better catch up. I'm behind on The Pit, which makes me even more devastated because I'm sure it's just my algorithm, but my Twitter feed is nothing but The Pit. We finna be in The Pit. It is The Pit all day, every day, and I'm having to scroll and avoid all spoilers.
It's not just yours.
Is it everywhere? Has The Pit taken over?
I will be in the back of the house doing stuff, and I will hear my wife yelling. And I will run because it's my wife. I need to make sure everything is okay. And it's just somebody laid out on the hospital table.
Dying.
And it's like, what are you watching? The
Pit.
Pit. It's like, oh my God, okay, lady.
I've been seeing Noah Wiley for Emmy discourse start. I don't know why, because I haven't watched I've watched the beginning enough to say he's fantastic.
Game ends. It's like, okay, I'm going to bed. She's like, okay, I'm going to stay up. Stay up and do what? I'm going to watch an episode of The Pit. Does that not give you?
Jealous.
My wife is so scary. I would think that The Pit would give her nightmares. Like, doesn't that give you? No. I just want to stay up and watch it. I gotta know.
I gotta know how the craziest shift in hospital history ends.
But it's not.
The people who work in the ERs are like, oh, it's a normal day.
People who work in the ERs and in hospitals like, yeah. No, I had that shift last Wednesday.
I'm so stressed. I just want to watch. I tried to bait Chris. I texted him yesterday. He did get home after being stranded overnight in Los Angeles. But I texted him and I was like, hey, which would you rather me watch in the afternoon if I have time, The White Lotus or The Pit? And he was like, well, I'd rather us watch them together. And I said, dang it. I tried. So instead, I did start a new show. It's called Dairy Girls, and it's an Irish sitcom based in the 90s about a group of teen girls growing up in Northern Ireland, which 90s Northern Ireland, obviously precarious times in that region, but it's really zippy, fun dialogue. I'm very much in an Irish phase. I'm tapping into my ancestral roots. I also want to move to Ireland, I've decided. I saw an ad yesterday that they are offering like $90,000 for people to go and move to a coastal island in Ireland, or there's like multiple coastal islands. And I think the reason that they're trying to do this is because there's no access to land at some times of the year when the storms are so bad that they wash out the roads. But they want these houses to be renovated, and you have to use the money they give you to renovate the house, but you can move there and stay there and all that jazz. So maybe I'll do that. I'm reading a book that's based in Ireland right now. It's based in Cork. It's called The Rachel Incident. I'm watching an Irish show. I just feel like I'm really big into my Ireland stage. So anyway, Dairy Girls is great. I can't believe it took me this long to watch.
Funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like almost funny enough that I would recommend it to you, despite it being about a group of teenage girls in Ireland.
Okay.
But it's good. Did you watch Bridgerton at all with your wife?
I watched that first season.
It has Nicola Coughlan, the curvier girl.
Okay.
I don't know how else to describe her. That was rude. That goes against my...
Oh, yeah, you can't be calling me
Yeah, I know. That
curvy.
goes against my my religion.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you watching right now?
Let's start with Daredevil, Born Again.
Okay.
I'm not all the way through it. It's picked up. The first episode, I was bored out of my mind. And then the second episode, it kind of picks up a little bit. And now it's going again. I will say that my issue, and I think some other people who I've talked to about this show, their issue was that the characters you grew to love in the Daredevil TV series that was on Netflix and now on Disney Plus, they're not there. Okay. And so it was it was an abrupt ending to the characters, and it was really awkward how Foggy, and I'm blanking on the other paralegals name, how they left the show. That was awkward and clunky, and it left you like angered. And I think you can tell this particular story of Daredevil without getting rid of those two characters. It was the collective of the three that made the show really, really good. Now, 4 or 5 episodes in now, it's a good show. I think it's a good show. Okay. We've gotten a couple of cameos. We talked to Bennett last week off air about Marvel and how they do the cameos. They have to have a point, and the cameo in Daredevil does have a point. You don't have to watch Daredevil to listen to what I think is the best monologue on TV so far this year.
Better than the Asian woman from White Lotus?
Yes.
Wow.
Where it is a person has been caught stealing cookies out of a convenience store, and Matt Murdock, the public defender, spoiler alert, he's also Daredevil, everybody knows that. Okay. He's trying to get him off with minimum jail time. He's going to go to jail because he's got a rap sheet, and he does that. The guy's like, no, I don't want to take a plea deal. Get me off. I'm not guilty. And Matt's like, yo, they got you on camera. Customers saw you stealing. The store clerk saw you stealing. When the police rolled up, you had boxes of cookies stuffed underneath your shirt. I've got you off with 10 days. What is your problem? How is this not thank you, counselor? And the speech that my man goes on there is incredible to sit down and listen to. You don't have to understand Daredevil. You don't have to have watched anything Marvel related to be able to sit there in that moment and feel true, genuine empathy for somebody who absolutely did wrong, but it's like, hey, somebody cut me a break here. So that's great. And then just the story of Wilson Fisk, how that continues to roll about as things in our current political climate continue to roll about. And it's like, oh gosh, that's a little on the nose, ain't it? But like, reality stranger than fiction, I guess. So all in all, I enjoyed Daredevil. Okay. There's a show that I would recommend to you. Okay. It's another not foreign show. They're Americans. It's a non-traditional American show where it follows. It's called Deli Boys on the Hulu.
If I can watch Dairy Girls and Deli Boys, I feel like I'm really crossing my T's and dotting my I's.
So this story follows a Pakistani family as the two sons end up inadvertently in the drug game.
Okay.
And it is hilarious. It reminds me a touch of, did you ever watch Arrested Development? Yeah. Remember how the Blues were always committing crimes?
Yes.
It reminds me of that. It's just as funny. And there are cultural components where...
Is the money in the banana stand?
Money's always in the banana stand. But there are cultural components where it does, I'm going to be honest, the Pakistani references, the South Asian references do go over my head. I see them as they go over my head. It's like, oh... That's a joke. That's a joke I'm not supposed to catch there. Okay. But it's still a good show. If you can handle unnecessary violence, right? Once or twice an episode, they'll be like, okay, why is blood all over the place? But if you can handle that, I think you'll love that show. It's very, very funny. It's good stuff.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What's it on?
It's on the Hulu.
The Hulu.
Deli Boys.
Deli Boys stuff. On Hulu. All right.
I laugh. Nobody is around, and I laugh out loud constantly when watching that show.
That was me with Dairy Girls the other night. I was like, oh, I love to laugh. I hope I'm smiling and jovial tonight when the Grizzlies face the Warriors. CJ has to get to a meeting. He's 4 minutes late. Uh-oh. We'll be back tomorrow. I hope we're doing highlights. I have been waiting. Guys, I'm going to spoil it. For those of you who are still around, I have been waiting to drop some T.I. bangers in a highlight ever since Tomas Isalo, a.k.a. T.I., is now the interim head coach for the Grizzlies. But I haven't been able to because we haven't had highlights after a win. So maybe tomorrow will be the day. Grizzlies Warriors, it's a big one. 7 o'clock, everything's back on FanDuel TV. Shout out Pete Pranica, who crushed it on the TNT broadcast last night. That was really fun to see Pete be able to have the national exposure and for everybody across the country to know how lucky we are to have him right here in Memphis. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what the Grizzlies can do. Have a little faith, have a little hope. Show up. Don't wear Warriors jerseys, please. We'll see you then. Bye.
We saying anything or we just gone?
Happy day after Women's History.